Hi, my name is Jerry Bone. I'm one of the owners of Reseller Consultants, and I want to thank you for taking time today. I'm going to spend the next 30 minutes talking a little bit about our program and the wonderful opportunity that it provides for people that are interested in being a reseller with our program. There are a tremendous amount of benefits to our program. Number one, there's no cost to join. There's no hidden fees or upsells whatsoever. Number two, it's non-invasive into your life. If you have a job or a business, it's not going to interfere. It only takes about 6 to 8 hours to set everything up, and then less than an hour a month. Okay. Lastly, you will earn a guaranteed $750 monthly while you're participating in the program. Now, what I typically get at this point is, hey Jerry, that sounds too good to be true. But when I get through explaining, I hope you will understand that you're actually providing a valuable service to large advertising companies. And I'm going to get into that more, but you're providing, you and your business will be providing a service, and you'll be compensated for that service. So it's basic economics. So I'm excited. I want to propose an agenda. I'm going to talk a little bit about the qualifications of the program. What's the background? Why is this program even necessary? What would you do in the program would be the third topic we're going to cover. How do the taxes work? How are you protected with the contracts? Then we're going to talk about the two downsides to the business. And then we're going to talk about your commitments. I call them the 3 B's. And then lastly, we're going to go over frequently asked questions. And if you're interested in enrolling in the program, I'm going to go over what would you do to actually specifically enroll in our program. So, next. Okay, qualifications. There are qualifications to the program. Number one, you must have a 620 credit score with Experian specifically. Now, if you don't know what your credit score is, I would recommend going to Experian.com. and you pay the $1 and you can download your credit report. Now, if you happen to be under 620, they do have a free program on their website. It's called Experian Boost, and I've had a lot of clients raise their credit score immediately 20, 30, 40 points. So don't just give up if you're right there on the border. Look at that, okay? Number two, no bankruptcy or tax liens in the previous 5 years. Now, if you had a bankruptcy that was discharged 7 years ago or 6 years ago or longer, then you would be eligible for the program, all right? Number three, it is between the ages of 21 and 69, okay? Number four, you would have to provide the previous 2 years tax returns as far as the 1040 portion only, which is the first 2 pages. Now, these could be drafts. They don't have to be actually filed with the IRS, but we do need those in hard copies, okay? And then number five, you couldn't have a company that has current merchant processing. Now, a lot of people are like confused with this. It's typically, when I'm talking about merchant processing, let me just explain that term. Merchant by definition is a business or business owner. Processing is the ability to process credit cards. So if you have a business like a restaurant or a retail store that you're accepting credit cards, this wouldn't be the best match for you. Now, a lot of people have small businesses or they work through third parties that there's a merchant account there like Stripe, PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, things of those natures would not disqualify you from doing the program. So I just want to take a minute and pause. If you have questions about that, just jot them down. Don't just discount yourself. In a lot of cases, I have solutions. If you really want to participate in the program, reach out to me. Jerry, this is my challenge. Is there any way to overcome that? So that's what the qualifications are. Background. Well, why is this program necessary? I want you to know that I have a business partner. His name is Eric. We've been in this industry for the last 18 years together. I've known him over the last 20 years. He has a CPA background. We have both of us have adult children in this program. We have family and friends, so it's not something we just do as a business, but we also refer this to other people that we know. We have developed over that last 18 years relationships with large online trial advertisers. Now, these are large companies, but they don't have a retail store. They only sell products and services online. Now, we have relationships with over 100 plus advertisers at this point that we do business with. And how this came about is these companies came to us initially over 18 years ago, and they had good products and they had good services, but they had a challenge and a problem. And this is where you would come in to help solve this problem. The problem is they're being limited in their merchant processing by Visa and MasterCard, or what they call capped, just like you'd put a cap on a bottle to keep the content from going over. Now, these caps doesn't mean that they don't want to do business with these advertising companies, but they'll come to and say, hey, last year you did $50 million of merchant processing. This year we're going to allow you to do $52 million. So they still want to do business, but they're limiting their business. And it's because of the transaction type. Now, I got to get off in the weeds a little bit and explain. When I say transaction type, Visa and MasterCard have categories and subcategories of transactions. A traditional Visa transaction would look something like this. You walk into Target, you get a pair of sunglasses, you go to the counter, you can put your credit card in the machine, they can ID it right there on the spot and verify it. You would receive the product right there, and a receipt, walk out, all sales final. Transactions like that and companies like that have a retail stores are typically not limited at all. Now, let me tell you about our advertisers. They would drive traffic from a social media site, maybe Facebook or Instagram, on something that's typically a trial offer. I'm sure a lot of you have seen, like, try the keto weight loss. If you don't lose weight this next month, then just pay shipping and handling and return it, right? So our advertisers would drive from a Facebook ad to their website, and you would go to their website, you decide you want to purchase the product, you would type in the credit card information, then it would process through, the product would be shipped to your house, then you would have a 30-day period of time to decide if you wanted to use that product. Now, most of you can see there's a big difference between the type A transaction that's a traditional and the online transaction with the credit card not present. So because of this category, they are limited. So what we do is take a person like yourself that's interested in being a certified reseller of the advertiser, like a little mini-me, and we join you together. And what this does is it allows the advertiser to grow and expand their business with you, typically an additional $200,000 to $400,000 per year. So it's very critical you understand you're not doing something for nothing, but you and your business are helping these advertising companies grow and expand, and for that, you're being compensated. So it's actually the definition of simple commerce. For those of you still maybe having a hard time wrapping around that, I'm going to use an example. Let's look at the corporate offices of McDonald's, okay? Not a franchise, but the corporate offices. If there were no new franchises ever built, the corporate offices would not grow or expand. Now, would McDonald's corporate offices go away? Of course not. They're a huge company. Just like these advertising companies are big companies. But with each new franchise that's created and built, the corporate offices grow and expand. So it's just like you being a reseller. So that's the why. So I hope you understand, once again, you're not doing something for nothing. You're helping them. Your business is helping them grow, and you're receiving a distribution of $750 for that help. Now, at this phase, I want to actually walk you through on what would happen and what you would do next if you wanted to be a reseller and how that works. But I want you to understand, we've had our program looked at by the top attorneys in the Visa and MasterCard industry, in our industry. And they have come back that it's 100% legal, moral, and ethical. So we lay out things for you in a safe way. And you just have to follow the directions that we give you so that we can do things here to help you and to enjoy this program and to do it in a way that you have success, okay? So number one, we do have what we call a welcome email. And it has 6 documents that you would need to return in order to enroll in the program. So when we're done with this, like I said, I'll let you know. It's going to have the documents that you return, the contracts to look over. It's going to have also additional information about the program. You're going to thoroughly look through the information, ask any questions that you have, and then you're going to return these documents as soon as possible. We need proactive people in this program and people that respond to us, okay? Now, the 6 items, I'm going to go over them really quickly, and then we can discuss them in detail later on. Number 1, you would need a photo of your driver's license front and back on a darker background, not cut off on the corners, not fuzzy, okay? Number 2, you would need a utility bill that would match the address or any type of monthly major bill. Some of you might be renting apartments or living at someone's home. We can provide you with a lease, or you have a lease that shows the utilities are included, okay? The next item would be the 3 most recent bank statements, your personal bank statements. We need the last 3 months complete history, okay? Then the 2 years previous tax returns, as I mentioned, just the 1040 portion, which, as I mentioned, is the first 2 pages of that. And then lastly, there will be a DocuSign document that will be sent to you. Okay, now the first half has some private information that you'll fill out. The reason we use DocuSign is it's very secure in the information. The second half of the DocuSign document is your commitments in the program. What we want to do is just lay everything out to you. There are 20 items on there that you can look over, and you're going to actually adopt a signature saying, I've read it, I've understand it, I don't have a problem. Now, these aren't difficult things in my opinion. They're mostly common business practices, but we believe in full disclosure. Here's the information, look it over. Now help me help you, as Jerry Maguire might say, and actually read it. We now give a quiz because we found people weren't reading it, and then they come back to me 3 months later and say, hey, I didn't know how to do that, even though they signed their initials. So please just be thorough on that. If you have any of those questions about those items, reach out to me, text me. You'll have an enrollment team that will help you. There'll be a text chain. You can reach out to them or email us however you want to. So we'll make sure that's clear. I did forget one item. You do need, I mentioned earlier, you have to have a 620 credit score. And to download that credit score, you would need to forward us that credit score. So those are the things that you would need to do to enroll in the program. Now, typically I get like, hey, Jerry, that was a lot of personal information that you're requesting. And it is. But let me explain something. Part of this program, you're going to be applying for a merchant's account. As I mentioned, that's any company, size, big or small, that needs the ability to accept credit cards from their customers. You're going to be doing this through a federally insured bank, and you're going to be applying for multiple merchant accounts, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. But that's done through a bank. Just like if you walked in to get a home loan from a bank, you don't just walk in and say, hey, I need $500,000, write me a check. They're going to ask you for credit scores, bank statements, tax returns, because they want to make sure you are quote unquote financially responsible. It's the same way with a merchant account. The good news is this doesn't depend on a debt to income ratio, so the income isn't important, but they do ask for personal information. So then typically the follow-up question I get is, Jerry, okay, is my information safe? There is ID theft and data breaches out there, and I want to take and address that because that is a concern as well. We've been doing this for 18 years. We've never had an ID theft or a data breach. Because we send information back and forth with merchant banks, we have to be what they call PCI compliant, so your information isn't sitting around floating on someone's desk. We also have a insurance policy, data breach and ID theft insurance policy through Country Financial. It's a large umbrella policy. Any reseller that's with us, if something were to happen, heaven forbid, you would financially be covered. So I just want you to know we take that stuff serious. We've never had an issue, and we plan to make sure that you continue to be safe with our program. So now that you've completed your 6 documents and you've returned them all to us, we would go through those and make sure they're good. Then what would happen is we would match you up with one of our 100+ advertisers. Now typically that takes about a week to 2 weeks. It's not a long process when we have openings, and at this current time we have openings that advertisers that need resellers. So once you're matched up, the advertisers would have an email sent to you, hey, welcome aboard from XYZ advertising company. Then within 24 to 48 hours you're going to get another communication from your liaison team member. Now this person is very important to your progress and to your experience here with resellers. They are assigned to you as your account manager. Okay, they will provide you with a phone number, a email. You can text them, email them. They will jump on a phone call. I will say they prefer text and email. We found that to be least invasive these days, but you can always arrange a phone call. If you have questions, you need help, we don't just push you out there on your own and say good luck. You have a specific rep that's assigned to you that also has a working relationship with the advertiser that you're assigned to. So they are the go-between between you and them. So I want you to know that they'll identify themselves. At that point, it's going to get quiet because what will happen is the advertiser actually is going to be paying a company called My LLC to form your sole member LLC. Now in some cases there's two LLCs, we'll go into that a little bit later, but those will be formed in your state. If you live in the state of Texas, they would be in the state of Texas. If you live in Florida, they'll be in Florida. Now, those are paid for by the advertising company. Once again, there's no cost in this program. I want to remind you about that. That typically takes about 4 weeks, a month, somewhere in that range, give or take. When the LLC is completed, you will get an email from your liaison team member saying, hey, it's time now. Here's your documents, your articles of incorporation, your EIN, all of your documents. It's time now to open a UPS box, mailbox, the smallest one available, for 3 to 6 months, okay? And then that's going to serve as the mailing address for your new business and also for a mail forwarding center with any correspondence that comes in from the website will be automatically forwarded onto the advertising company's customer service. You're going to find this program is very automated. The second thing that the instructions will be is you're going to set up a basic business checking account. Okay, so now we are limited with the banks that we currently use. Chase is one of our primary ones that we prefer. Wells Fargo is also one of them. Those are our top two. We do work with Citizens banks. Now we're working constantly with new banks. So if you don't have one of those banks that you need to drive maybe an hour or two, now if you did have to drive an hour or two, understand that you would go there typically one time only and set up your banking as online banking so you don't have to frequent that, as well as the mailbox. That's why we have a mail forwarding option, okay? But before you run off and you go try to set the bank account up, there's two very important things. Number one, you're going to get an electronic check for approximately $300 to pre-fund you to open the UPS box and open the business account so that you don't come out of pocket any money. Number two, you're going to jump on a call with Louie, who's one of our managers that has a banking background. It's the how to set up the UPS box, and he's going to go over how to set up the bank account. You're going to get asked questions by the bank, Chase or Wells Fargo, wherever you go. They're going to say, how much volume are you going to do? What's your product? Do you need a credit card? We want you to be prepared for that. So he'll go over everything. And when you walk out of the bank account, having set up your business account, you jump up and you do one of those heel click things, because that was the hardest part of this whole program. Literally, when I mentioned it's 6 to 8 hours to set everything up, most of your time commitment is right there in that. Everything else can be done typically from at home, as long as you can print, scan, and email documents, okay? So now having completed the hardest part of that, then you are sent what I feel like is the most important part, and that is the contract, okay? That's going to be signed by the advertising company. We're going to talk about your protections right here, so take some notes, like get out a piece of paper and a pad. This is signed by the advertising company, your advertising agreement, and it's signed personally as a guarantee by the owner of the advertising company. So they're literally putting their money where their mouth is. If something goes wrong with the business, they are still guaranteeing the things in this contract. And our contract's written in a way that it's very specific and it's all-inclusive as far as your protection. Now, those protections are typically listed in 5 categories. I'm going to kind of go over those with you, okay? But this is going to discuss your relationship with them under the umbrella as a reseller. You have, number one, no liability when it comes to the products or services offered. Okay, they carry both manufacturing insurance and liability insurance on all products or services. So they guarantee those things. You assume no liability as a reseller of their products or services. Number two, they're going to take care of all the banking fees. The banks charge fees for different transactions and things of that nature. They cover all those things. Number three, they will take care of all the servicing fees with any vendors that you work with. For example, part of the program, they're going to build a website for you, and it's going to mirror whatever product that they sell. If we match you up with a group that sells teeth whitening kit, your website would be a teeth whitening kit website. There's going to be an 800 number on that website for customer service so that people aren't calling you, your cell phone, your home phone. They're calling a third-party group that already knows the product that's been arranged, okay? So there's a fee for that. The advertisers cover that fee. They would cover the merchant processing fees. Now this one's a little more confusing, so I want you to bear with me. Part of this program, I mentioned you're going to be applying for a merchant's account. And you're actually going to be applying for multiple ones. They're typically sent to you via DocuSign. We mentioned DocuSign earlier. You fill out the application online, and you are personally guaranteeing that the merchant fees are paid. Now, what I mean by that, and your business as well, your sole member LLC, what I mean by that is the merchant accounts actually have fees associated. When a business takes a credit card from a customer, it's anywhere from 2 to 5%, and sometimes there's even reserves on top of that. So you're going to guarantee you pay those fees, but your contract, listen to me very carefully, your contract with the advertiser says they will take care of those fees for you. So you will sign the guarantee, and you have a lockbox agreement that those fees will be taken care of by the advertiser. Okay? No liabilities, all fees covered. It also, there's a agreement that you will receive $750 each month your campaign is going. You get that in writing and as a guarantee by the advertiser. Now, those are the business agreements that you get. Now, there's one thing you are going to agree to. The business account that you set up through Chase, Wells Fargo, whichever bank that you choose on that, you are guaranteeing you're not going to use the business account for personal things. You can't go and grab $1,000 out and decide to take a trip, or go to 7-Eleven and buy a hot dog or a Slurpee, okay? You can't run other businesses through there and commingle businesses. Remember, we're here to help you. This is for this business and this business only, which is allocated the way the IRS wants that to be. All right, now once the agreements are all in place, then the advertisers I mentioned previously is going to build your website. They take care of all the fees to maintain the website. They have a customer service on there, and once again, it's going to mirror whatever the product is. The next phase would be you would apply for the merchant accounts. As I mentioned, there'd be multiple merchant accounts. Some advertisers use 2 LLCs, 2 websites, and they rotate product. You don't get an additional $750, but the benefit to you is typically those campaigns go much longer, okay? So the merchant accounts would be approved. You would fill out the application, send them back, or they're sent to you via DocuSign. When that happens, the advertisers then they take the website and they attach the merchant accounts to them. Their programmers will do this for you, and then they start to drive traffic to your website, okay? And at that point, you're going to notice deposits into your business checking account, Chase, Wells Fargo, whichever one you use. When that happens, the next month on the 15th to the 20th, you'll receive your first distribution, and then each month after that. Okay, so that's what would happen throughout the entirety of the program. Now, at this point, I have a lot of people that say, this is very interesting, but I can't wrap my head around, what do I do, Jerry? How does this actually work? So I'm going to actually walk through how logistically things work. So the advertiser is going to drive traffic to the website. Okay? People would go onto the website. If they had a question, they'd call into the 800 number. Let's say they didn't and they wanted to order, and I'm using this for an example, the keto weight loss. They would type in their credit card information, it would process through your merchant account and deposit into your business checking account. Now, that website is also attached to what we call a drop shipping and fulfillment company. These are large companies that would be notified that the order's been placed and paid for, and they will ship the product out directly to the end user. Once again, I mentioned this is designed to be very automated, okay? Your advertisers are going to work as your management company, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. So you can see there the process, the product's been shipped out. Let's say there was $10,000 of deposits into your account. So what would happen from there, the next month, the merchant fees and the banking fees are automatically deducted out of your account. On the 15th to the 20th, typically the advertiser sends you an e-check for your $750. When you get that e-check, you can electronically deposit it, you can cash it, you can do whatever you want. That is your money at that point to pay bills, to put in savings, buy a couch. It's your money, okay? Then at the end of the month, the out of your business account's going to be paid the advertising fees, the management fees, the customer service, the product and product fulfillment, okay? So I want to just say, your advertising company is going to act like your management company. Let's say you went out and bought an apartment complex, okay? And you decided, hey, I own this, but I don't want to go fix the toilets and change the locks and collect the rent, so I hire a management company. I still own the business, but I'm not doing the day-to-day operations. You actually have a management agreement with your advertising company that they handle all of the day-to-day operations just like a management company. So it's really cool that way. Now next, let's talk about taxes. A lot of people want to talk about taxes, and it's actually a lot more simple than you would think, okay? All the money that comes into your account that's paid out in business fees, merchant fees, banking fees, customer service, advertising, product and product fulfillment are all considered by the IRS's legal business tax deductions. You do not pay taxes on business fees and expenses, okay? However, you will pay taxes on the $750s that you get, okay? So let me explain how logistically that happens. What's great is your advertising company, whether they have their accounting department or they hire somebody, will prepare a tax document for your sole member LLC. Now remember, this isn't a C Corp or an S Corp where you're having to file quarterly taxes, okay? It's done once a year, and it's a profit and loss statement. They're going to show all of the money that came into your business through sales, and they're going to show all the expenses paid out, merchant fees, banking fees, customer service, advertising, product fulfillment, and then you're going to show a profit number based on the number of months you participated in that year. Let's say you participated for 12 months, 12 times 750, your profit margin for your business and your benefit was $9,000. So that's what you would pay taxes on. That you're going to put on your Schedule C of your personal taxes. Very similar to how a 1099 works. A lot of you are familiar with that. That's how the taxes work. Now, if you have any additional questions, once again, you'll have the opportunity to text with me and talk to me if you want some clarifications. But most of you get that. It's actually a pretty simple process. The tax document's prepared for you. You attach it to your Schedule Cs, and there you go. All right? There are two things that I consider downsides to the business. So in spirit of disclosure, I just want to go over these with you so that you can make the best choice possible with the information that I provide. Number one, it does take typically about 3 to 5 months before you're up and receiving a distribution. So this isn't something that happens overnight or next week or tomorrow. So they have to form the LLC, there's the bank account, there's websites that are built. Not one of these items, but when you add up all these items, it typically takes like 3 to 5 months. Number two, when you apply for a merchant's account, and I mentioned you're going to be doing that, when the banks will pull a hard inquiry on you, okay? So they want to make sure, once again, you're quote unquote financially responsible. They're going to pull a credit. And this will affect you. Now, this effect is counted as a hard inquiry. It's not permanent on your credit, but typically overall it might affect you 10 points for a period of time of 6 months to a year, and then your credit would go back up. So if you had a 710 credit score, it might drop to 700. So I do want you to be aware of that and factor that into your decision. There's lots of benefits, but those are the two things that I'd like you to consider when you're making your decision. Now, what are you committing to? This is the part where I call it the 3 B's. The 3 B's, these are your commitments to the program. We want you, because our program's free, I love that about it, but we don't want you to attach no value to the program. This is an extremely valuable program. Some people might sell this for $3,000 to $5,000 or $10,000. We make it free. So we want you to be committed. So the 3 B's. Number 1, be committed to the long-term process of this program. Remember, the advertisers pay for you to set up LLCs, to get the bank account open up. They build a website, they drive traffic. This is tens of thousands of dollars that they invest with you as a reseller, okay? So please stay committed. They make their money back, or they wouldn't be doing this, through the advertising fees that they charge, the customer service fees, things of that nature, but they need time to recoup that money. So hopefully you understand they're putting a lot in, you're putting time in, so I want you all to be committed to the long-term process. Number 2, be flexible. We have contracts with all of these advertising companies. They're the same payout, the same guarantees, but some of them like to do business different. Some companies might require, as I mentioned, 2 LLCs and they rotate them. Some might require this document. Maybe Visa and MasterCard changes a rule in 6 months and we have to send you another document. If something like that happens, we're not trying to pick on you, it's just be flexible. Sometimes businesses change and adjust and we have to adjust accordingly. Number 3, be responsive. Now this is critical. We want you to treat us like a valued vendor. And when we reach out to you, we know everybody might have jobs or things that they're going on. We all have hectic lives. But you can always text us back or email us, hey, I've received that information, I can't get to it Saturday, but at least you're communicating with us, and that's vital. We've actually had to have people not in the program any longer because they won't respond back to us, and it's just detrimental. So please make sure that you commit to be responsive to us. We'll try to communicate to you via text, via email. We'll make it as non-invasive as we possibly can, but you do need to take a couple minutes and get back to your liaison team member, or if we reach out to you as a company. So those are your real commitments into this program. Okay, now I want to cover a couple of the frequently asked questions that people commonly ask me. This might not be all, and once again, you'll be able to reach out to me. I encourage you to do that if you have questions that aren't answered in this video. Number 1, a lot of people say, hey, I'd love to do this and my wife would love to do this. It is one per household, so only one person can participate per household. I want to be clear on that. Number 2, people typically ask me, Jerry, how long does the program last? And this is a complex answer. Now, you are guaranteed in the contract a minimum of 6 months. So your worst case, you would make $4,500. However, 95% of the campaigns go longer than 6 months. More in an average of people make anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 is more of an average that you're going to see. Number 3, I want you to understand, like people say, now this really isn't my business. No, you definitely have, this is your LLC, but you are contracting with the advertiser to handle all of day-to-day operations. The other questions I get is, hey Jerry, what's that hour, 30 minutes to an hour, what am I going to be doing, okay? One of the things that you're required for the first 6 months is you will continue to send ongoing updated bank statements monthly, and also the updated utility bill or the lease or the your monthly bill that you have that's a major bill. So those are the things. The other things that would be required would be a one-time reactive administrative thing. For example, we would reach out to you and say, hey, there's going to be a bank code coming to you. Can you forward that? Hey, can you send us this document that needs to be signed out? It's filled out. It's a DocuSign document. Hey, there's an additional merchant application that we need you to fill out. So these would be things that you wouldn't do every month, but occasionally would be asked to do. So just when we reach out to you, you would make yourself available. Once again, this program is non-invasive to most people, have the time to do this, and we make it as minimal time as possible. Other things I want to mention is a lot of times people want to do this program, and maybe you have a decision maker in your family, and this isn't really a question, more of a request from me. If you have a significant other in your life, please have them sit down, watch this. we don't want to be in a situation where you start the program and then 3 months later they're like, what are you doing? And they feel uncomfortable. So I would rather address any questions. If that person wants to get on the phone or watch this video, I think that would be very helpful. That way both of you can be on the same page. I found that that's always better. Product verticals. People ask me a lot of times, what products would be on the website? Now, most of the advertisers, these are the verticals that they cover, would be health products, beauty products, Nutra, gadgets, ebooks, dating. Okay. Now, we have a small contingency of our advertisers that do adult content. You would not be assigned to an adult content unless you requested that. So please understand, you would not be assigned to adult unless you had requested that. The other people are going to all be assigned to health, beauty, Nutra, gadgets, ebook, dating, things of that nature. Okay, so they would be not things that would be that could cause controversy. I know a lot of people, we might have school teachers out there or people that are professional, and so we know that that's very important and we honor that. So please understand that. Thank you. Hopefully throughout this last 30 minutes or so, I provided the information so you can start to make a really informed decision on this program, and I hope a lot of you are excited to move forward. So I've given you a lot of information on this video, and sometimes people tend to feel a little overwhelmed, like I thought this was going to be an easy process. Most of the information that I've given you and the logistics, as I had mentioned, are going to be handled. The day-to-day stuff is handled by the advertiser. So let me just walk you through really quickly your obligations. It's actually pretty simple. You're going to request the welcome email and fill out the 6 documents and return them. At that point, you're going to be assigned to a advertiser. You don't have to do anything. They're going to form the LLC. You don't have to do anything. Then you're going to open the UPS box and the business bank account, which I mentioned is the most time-consuming part. After that, you sign the contracts. Then you'll have merchant applications that come to you, and then sending us the updated bank statements and the utility bill or leases. So really, other than that, it would be one-time administrative type of things that we would ask you to do. So your portion of this really isn't a lot. So I just, sometimes people are confused with hearing all of what happens in the program and what you have to do. So I wanted to just remind you of that. Thank you for taking time today. Everybody's time is very valuable to them, so I really appreciate that, and I look forward to talking to you or you enrolling and doing business with you in the future.